It became a $1,000 repair, and it started with something you did for 5 seconds at the gas pump without thinking twice. Millions of drivers do this at every single fill-up, and not one of them knows the damage they are causing under the hood. This is the gas pump habit that is destroying your car's emission system and draining your wallet. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to stop it. You will also find out why the fire warning on every pump in America is protecting you from the wrong thing entirely, and what the actual danger is that nobody bothers to mention. But first, the habit. Every time the gas nozzle clicks, a system designed for vapor faces a challenge it was never built to handle. The EVAP system's job is to trap gasoline vapor, not liquid fuel. Forcing more gas after the automatic shutoff pushes liquid above the vent tube opening inside the tank. The vent tube is not angled to drain. It acts as a direct channel and pulls raw gasoline into the EVAP vent line. That line, narrow and meant for vapor, becomes a holding place for liquid with nowhere to go, waiting until the next purge cycle. When the engine runs, vacuum opens the purge valve, expecting only vapor from the charcoal canister. Instead, it draws in liquid fuel. The purge valve's diaphragm, thin and sensitive, is not built for that kind of pressure. Liquid gasoline causes the diaphragm to swell and lose strength, sometimes leading to leaks or a stuck valve. If the valve fails, the system cannot control pressure or emissions, and a check engine light soon follows. Inside the charcoal canister, activated carbon pellets are packed with microscopic pores, engineered to absorb vapor molecules. When liquid gasoline enters, those pores collapse. The carbon matrix breaks down, a process mechanics call souring. Sticky sludge forms, blocking the canister's channels. Once this happens, the canister can no longer trap vapors, and fuel vapor escapes into the atmosphere. The damage is invisible but significant, undermining the system's ability to protect air quality. The chain reaction continues. If enough liquid moves through, it reaches the vent solenoid, a small electronic valve meant to release vapor safely. Liquid gasoline can wet the solenoid's contacts, causing corrosion or short circuits. Some vehicles have pressure sensors downstream, and a splash of gasoline can foul their diaphragms, confusing the car's computer and triggering more warning codes. All of this begins with a single action: topping off after the pump clicks. The EVAP system is designed as a one-way path for vapor. Forcing liquid into the vent line sets off a cascade, pooling fuel, weakening valves, collapsing carbon, and damaging electronics. Even a small amount of liquid lingers in the sealed system, sometimes for days, before it is finally drawn through. By then, the harm is done. A single mistake at the gas pump can turn into a 4-figure repair bill before you even leave the parking lot. Mechanics across the country see the same scenario again and again. A driver ignores the first click, squeezes out a few more cents, and ends up paying hundreds or even over $1,000 weeks later. The damage isn't visible at first, but once liquid gasoline floods the EVAP system, the countdown begins. EPA chemical engineer Catherine Magliocchetti calls topping off a loser 3 ways. She is blunt, it wastes your money, pollutes the air, and trashes the vapor recovery hardware built into your car and the pump. When liquid enters the vapor system, it does not just evaporate. It destroys the charcoal canister, a part that was never designed to handle anything but vapor. Shops routinely quote $450 to $1,200 for a full EVAP repair. That is just for the canister and a couple of valves. If the fuel fouls the sensors or solenoid, costs can climb even higher. Some shops have seen bills hit $1,500 for a complete system flush and replacement. John Ibbotson, chief mechanic at Consumer Reports, sees these jobs all the time. He warns that EVAP failures are among the most expensive non-engine repairs for modern cars. The check engine light might flash a P0455 or P0456 code. Those are the telltale signs. But by the time that warning appears, the damage is already done. Often, the only fix is to swap out the canister and hope the purge valve has not been ruined as well. Ibbotson points out that a loose gas cap can cause the same codes, but that is a $15 fix, a world apart from a $900 system overhaul. It is not just your car that pays. Modern pumps equipped with vapor recovery nozzles are designed to capture gasoline vapor, not liquid. When you force extra fuel after the click, the dispenser can suck liquid back into its recovery line. That can trigger a spillage alarm and force the station to shut down the pump for maintenance. In the end, you are paying for gas that never even makes it into your tank. Every time you top off, you are rolling the dice with your wallet. Mechanics, engineers, and consumer advocates all say the same thing. When the pump clicks, you are done. Ignore that, and you could be looking at a repair bill that wipes out any savings you thought you gained at the pump. Every year, drivers in the United States throw away over $2 billion at the gas pump without even realizing it. The culprit? Premium gasoline poured into cars that are designed to run just fine on regular. The American Automobile Association set out to test whether this extra cost buys any real-world benefit. Their engineers rolled 3 different vehicles, a V8, a V6, and a 4-cylinder, onto the dynamometer, a machine that simulates real driving conditions. Each car went through city, highway, and mixed driving cycles, running first on regular 87 octane, then on premium 93 octane. The results were as clear as they were surprising. The difference in fuel economy was less than 0.5%. Horsepower gains, statistically invisible. Emissions, no cleaner. Greg Brannon, Director of Automotive Engineering at AAA, spells it out. Premium means higher octane, not higher quality. Octane is a measure of resistance to engine knock, not a secret ingredient that makes your engine cleaner or stronger. Unless your owner's manual specifically calls for premium, you're paying more for nothing. Yet, AA's national survey found that 16.5 million drivers still choose premium at least once a year, even though 84% of cars on the road are built for regular. That adds up to a staggering $2.1 billion wasted every year, about $180 per driver who makes the switch. That's money that could cover a month's groceries, a car payment, or part of a real repair bill. The numbers don't lie. Premium gas in a regular engine is a wallet-draining myth, not an upgrade. The next time you're staring at the pump, remember, octane is not a quality rating, and your car isn't asking for more than it needs. Gas pumps are plastered with numbers, 87, 89, 91, 93. For years, drivers have been told to reach for the higher octane if they want to treat their car right. But here is the reality. Octane is not a mark of fuel quality. It is just a measure of how much compression the fuel can handle before it knocks. Unless your owner's manual specifically demands premium, you are getting zero benefit from that higher number. No cleaner engine, no extra power, no lower emissions. The Federal Trade Commission spells it out. Higher octane does not mean better gas. Yet the real difference between fuels is not on the price sign. It is in the detergent package mixed into the gasoline. That is where top-tier gasoline comes in. This is not a brand, but a standard set by automakers like GM, Toyota, Honda, and BMW, all frustrated by dirty valves and sluggish injectors. Top tier requires a much higher level of engine cleaning detergent, usually polyetheramine, PEA, than the minimum set by the EPA. The result? In AAA lab tests, engines running on regular top-tier fuel built up 19 times less carbon on intake valves than those fed non-top-tier gas. That is not a typo. 19 times less. Those deposits do not just look bad, they rob your engine of power, fuel economy, and longevity. Over time, skipping the right detergent can quietly cost you hundreds in lost efficiency and repairs. Here is the buying rule that actually matters. Ignore the octane unless your car asks for it, but always look for the top-tier logo at the pump. Regular top-tier gas costs pennies more per gallon, but it can save you about $180 a year by keeping your engine clean and avoiding unnecessary repairs. The next time you fill up, you are not just choosing a number, you are choosing whether your engine stays clean or gets choked with carbon. That is the difference that actually shows up in your wallet. Gas stations across the country are covered in warning stickers about cell phones. You have probably seen the icon, a phone with a red slash, maybe even a reminder from the cashier. But here's the reality. Not a single documented gas station fire has ever been traced to someone using their cell phone while filling up. The Petroleum Equipment Institute, the group that tracks fuel safety incidents nationwide, has gone through the records. Their audit found 0 verified cases, none in the United States or anywhere else. The myth is stubborn. It sounds plausible. Phones have batteries, batteries can spark, and gasoline vapor is flammable. But the evidence is just not there. Even the National Fire Protection Association and the American Petroleum Institute say the same thing. No phone, no fire. The Federal Communications Commission, the group that actually regulates wireless devices, has never reported a single gas pump fire linked to a call, a text, or a phone dropped on the pavement. So why do the warnings stick around? Mostly, it is a holdover from the early days of mobile tech, when nobody was sure what a phone might do around sensitive electronics. But after decades of careful investigation, the only thing cell phones threaten at the pump is your focus. The real danger, as we will see, comes from something far more ordinary: static electricity. For now, you can put your phone paranoia to rest. The real risk is something you cannot see, but it is right at your fingertips. Static electricity at the gas pump is not just a technicality. It is the real fire risk that most drivers overlook. Each time you slide out of your car during refueling, especially in winter, you are walking into the perfect storm for a spark. Dry air, polyester jackets, and rubber-soled shoes all build up a charge. The moment you reach for the nozzle, that tiny zap can ignite gasoline vapor hovering around the filler neck. The Petroleum Equipment Institute tracks these incidents nationwide. They have recorded 176 confirmed pump fires started by static discharge, and nearly half of them happen between December and February, when the air is dry and static builds up fast. The most common scenario is this: a driver starts fueling, gets back in the car to stay warm or to grab a phone, then slides back out and grabs the nozzle. That is when static, built up from your clothes rubbing against the seat, jumps to the nozzle and finds a cloud of vapor. One spark is all it takes. The numbers are clear. About 50% of static-related fires happen in winter, and almost every case involves someone re-entering their vehicle mid-fill. The fix is simple, and most people miss it. Once you step out, stay out until the pump clicks off. If you do re-enter, always touch a metal part of your car, like the door frame, before you reach for the nozzle. That split second grounds the charge safely. Forget the cell phone bans and focus on the real threat: your own static. One habit change can keep you, your car, and everyone at the station out of harm's way. Every time you fill up, a 5-second check can save you hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Start with the easiest fix in the book, your gas cap. According to CarMD's latest Vehicle Health Index, a loose or missing fuel cap is the #1 reason for a check engine light in the United States. 13% of all warning lights come down to this single mistake, and the fix costs less than lunch, about $15 to $35. Yet drivers ignore it, risking a failed emissions test and the slow death of their evaporative emission system. Next, think about your fuel pump. Letting your tank run near empty isn't just inconvenient, it is expensive. The fuel pump inside your tank relies on gasoline for cooling and lubrication. Run too low too often, and the pump overheats. CarMD data shows that fuel pump replacements average $1,200 or more. That is the price of a luxury phone, gone in a flash because of a habit you can control. Misfueling is another silent killer. Mixing up gasoline and diesel even once can mean a repair bill from $200 for a simple drain to $5,000 or more if the wrong fuel circulates through your engine. The horror stories are real. Diesel in a gas car, or vice versa, can wreck injectors, pumps, even the engine itself. Double-check the nozzle before you squeeze the handle. Worried about sediment after a tanker delivery? Patrick DeHaan at GasBuddy says modern stations use 10-micron filters that catch virtually all debris. Fiberglass tanks have replaced rust-prone steel, and in GasBuddy's tests there is no measurable increase in particles after a delivery. The myth of waiting for the tank to settle is just that, a myth. And forget the old advice about filling up early in the morning for denser fuel. Underground tanks stay at a steady 62 degrees year-round. The difference in volume is less than a tablespoon per tank, nothing you will ever notice. 5 habits, 5 fixes. Tighten your cap until it clicks, keep your tank above a quarter, check the pump label, ignore the tanker myth, and stop chasing cold gas. Each one takes seconds, but together they can keep your car running longer and your wallet a lot heavier. Every time you fill up, the final word on when to stop isn't up for debate. It's built into the nozzle itself. The automatic shutoff isn't a guess or a convenience feature. It's a precise mechanical device rooted in physics, perfected over 2 centuries of engineering. The principle behind it dates back to 1797, when Giovanni Battista Venturi first described how moving liquid creates a pressure drop. Today, every fuel nozzle uses this effect to protect both your car and your wallet. As gasoline rushes through the nozzle, it creates a low pressure zone inside a tiny tube near the tip. This tube is connected to a pressure switch calibrated to a specific value, about 0.6 bar. When your tank fills and the rising fuel covers the nozzle sensing port, the pressure instantly changes. That triggers the pressure switch, snapping the valve shut with a distinct click. The entire process happens in a split second, leaving a small but critical vapor gap above the liquid. This space isn't wasted, it's essential. It gives the gasoline room to expand as it warms and keeps liquid out of the evaporative emissions system vent lines. Ignore that click, and you're not outsmarting the pump. You're forcing fuel into a space engineered for vapor only. The nozzle is calibrated to leave your tank as full as it can safely be. No more, no less. That's why the click is non-negotiable. There's no extra mileage to be gained, no secret savings to unlock. Every extra squeeze after the click risks turning a routine fill-up into a future repair bill. The science is clear, and the rule is simple. When the pump clicks, you're done. That single moment is the difference between a clean, sealed system and a costly cascade of damage. Trust. The click. The engineers who designed it were looking out for your car, your wallet, and your peace of mind. Right now, AAA estimates Americans waste over $2.1 billion a year on premium gas their cars don't need, while thousands unknowingly face $700 in EVAP repairs for topping off after the click. Experts like EPA's Catherine Maglio-Chetti make the rule clear. When the pump clicks, you're done. Your habits at the pump decide your repair bills tomorrow. What feels harmless could cost you everything. Drop your questions or stories below. I'm listening.